Okay, we've started doing the foiling, and you can see we started from the center right there, and that was my lovely assistant Max. And so I started in the center, and we started taking them from there, and then just doing the foil. And I move it once I get them foiled. I don't put them back on that picture. I put them on a fresh print, just so that I can have two of them, you know, side by side. And as you can see, they're going together, but you can still see some gaps, but that's okay as long as there isn't, you know, the gaps aren't too big. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we're foiling here. This is 3/16 inch foil, and it's sticky on the one side, not on the other side. And basically what you have to do is you put that foil on the ground edge. I'll just strip some off here a little bit. I'm going to grab this next little guy. You can't see it, but I'll grab this little guy right here. The little ones are really they're the hardest to do, I think. But that 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces right here took about 10 minutes. And all I do, if you can start on the inside, like if you finish up, it's nice to finish up on an inside sometimes, because it's hard to, if you stretch it from this point to this point and then you try to push it in, you're stretching the foil and it'll break, and you don't want, you can, a couple cracks are okay, but you don't want to crack it in too many places, because the solder, it's hard to solder. So I just lay it on the back of my finger on this side, run it into the concave part, and what you do is you try to get them even on both sides. In glass that you can't see through, which is opaque glass, it's a little more forgiving. If you're doing the sun catcher, you gotta be exact on both sides, because you can see through the glass, and you can see where, you know, if you look through it, you can see you'll be able to see the shiny foil sticking, you know, and you look through the glass, you'll be able to see the foil from the other side. So you gotta, where's my scissors? Max, you take my scissors? Yeah, I'll get another pair here. These are big. I have these little, oh, there they are. I have these little scissors. They're nice to, you know, just makes it nice to be able to trip it. And when you want to make sure that these are, when you line them up, so that you know, it's going to look like that, and it's going to look a little rough, but that's okay. What we do is you start smoothing it around, and these little pieces I just do with my fingers until you get it. Use my fingernails. I use anything I can get a hold of. Basically, there's a burnishing tool here laying beside me that I'll start using here in a second. Then you crimp it. Once you get it fairly well pressed in, it doesn't have to be perfect, because once the solder hits it, it becomes very hard. It's not, once you solder it, it seems to be harder than it is when it's on the spool. So then you take your burnisher tool. You can get these. Well, I just got it at a stained glass shop. You go around the edges. And I'm taking a little longer on this one because I'm explaining it to you, but usually once you start going, you'll get faster and faster with this. And if you watched my earlier videos, you heard me complaining about cutting the patterns out, and then you heard me complaining about putting them on the glass, trying to get them all oriented. And then I said that this is my least favorite part, but it's all worth it at the end. But this is very you can't watch TV while you're doing this, and you can't have too many distractions, because you just can't. You got to pay attention to what you're doing, making sure every little corner is pressed into place. And once it's like this, and I use my fingers, and I'll see some high spots, like right here's a high spot, I'll just take the burnisher and just try to flatten it out. It's okay if it's not sticking there. It's like a heavy-duty aluminum foil. It's kind of what it feels like. And then I take it and I put it over in the corner of my board over here, or I'll show you right here, since I don't think you can see that. I just lay it down, and then I'll run my burnisher and get it flattened on this side. I try to get all, you don't have to get all the wrinkles out. Try to get most of them, because like I said, the solder will take it out. And then you just make sure that you don't have any places where there's just glass sticking out. You like the corners right here. You want to make sure that it's covered, because the solder. Now you can play some tricks with the solder after you get good at it. You can take solder where places it's not, but you got to mess with the temperature and then once you get the solder molten. Now that's going to sit right there, and I'm not real happy with that fit, but I'll move it around, and if I don't like it when I'm done, I will. It's rare, but I'll take it out and recut it. But I try to get it as close as possible. Now this piece, when it comes around, it'll take. We might have a little spot right there, but if it's not too big, it'll be okay. And it actually makes it look like a shadow in the leaves of the rose, so it'll be all right. All right, I'll do a couple more, and I'll be back with you guys in a bit. One more piece. This is taking about an hour, I'd say, get all that stuff, and I'm okay with everything. And as long as I can live with a couple of those gaps. That guy right there, he used to be bigger. I kind of squished it together and rearranged it, and it kind of filled itself in, and I got one over here. But I think it's gonna look okay, because it'll look like a shadow when the flower is done. So, or look like a corner in the petals. So this is the last one, and I saved it for last because it kind of looks like it's going to be a pain. I was going to run it through. I'll show you the easy ones. I'll show you the hard ones. You know, when we get off into these areas, I'll show you how to do those too. But that guy is going to fit right there. I'm going to be okay with that. So let's go ahead and do that. Grab my foil here. You know, I wouldn't really press hard on this tape when you're doing it. You're going to get your fingerprint on there, and if you have a just line that up like that. It's really sticky tape, kind of like duct tape. So you gotta watch, like on where you ground, when you wash these off, when you grind them. You might miss a spot, and you'll see a thing that kind of looks like a clump of flour on there. That's the ground. That's dried ground glass. And you got to get that off of there, because the tape, you know, it's just like, you know, it'll stick to it, and then it'll come right back off. So I'll use my thumbnail just to make sure I got it all, and I haven't found any so far in this piece. And then try not to end up on a corner. You're gonna want to flap this over, so you just don't want a seam at the very end. I'll end it right about here. So I do this, and then try to get it so that it's perfectly flush with where I started, and then you go through and you just rub it down. And I'll start these little guys that stick up. It's kind of hard. You don't want to fold them backwards because they're hard to unfold, and it's all going to be covered by solder. So at the end, it doesn't really matter as long as the seam is okay, the lines are okay. And this is basically 1/2 of the I-beam. Your solder is going to kind of create an I-beam of solder. When you put solder on here, it'll be like an I-beam of solder that's going to go between the glass. It's going to go on top. So basically, this is 1/2 of it, what you see here. I'll lay it down. And you just rub it all over. Get anything that you might have missed before. All this preparation makes it a lot easier later. And so that's what you got. Doesn't have to be perfect. Solder covers up a lot of things that you see now. You won't see it later, and I'll show you that later. Okay, that's it. Let's slide her in there. Like that, like that, like that. And we'll move it all around, and she'll look pretty good here when we're start going with the blue. It'll look something like that. Just scrunch it all together. Okay, that was the flower. It's about an hour and I don't know, between an hour and a half, something like that, just for those. Now those are the hard parts. These leaves are hard too. These little special cuts. These over here, they're not so bad, but you got to make sure that your foil is perfect. You'll see where if your solder gets wider and shallower, wider and thinner, if you don't keep them. What I'm trying to say is when you put your foil on that glass, you just got to make sure it stays the same thickness on one side, you know, both sides, but really make sure it's, you got to pay attention to that, because you'll see the thickness in your solder waviness there, and you don't really want to draw attention to any of that stuff. They can look at this, they can look at this. You don't really want to draw attention to that. This is supposed to just make everything all come together when it's all said and done. Okay, that's it, and we'll catch you later on the blue stuff. Well, we got about most of it done now. We got all the blue, got the yellow, got the green, and the leaves. And basically what I did was I started about here, and I worked my way around, all around in here, and I just kind of worked down. I got down around here, and I haven't had to recut any glass. I'm okay with some of this stuff. Some places I'll probably try to fudge a little bit before I go to solder. You know, I try to get some of these gaps. They won't matter. It's not supposed to look like a machine made it. So you can have a little bit of play in here. And what I did is I still have two pieces here and here. And what I'll show you what I did. I got this one and this one. So if I try to, you know, see if it's going to fit. It looks like it's going to work. And I look at this one, see if that's going to fit, and it's going to work too. So I thought I'd just turn the video back on while I did that. And I'm using 3/16 foil. The green is thinner glass, and I wish I had something a little thinner than the 3/16, but I don't like a lot of. I came in on either side of the green. It's kind of thick right in here. That's because it's thin. So I actually took a utility knife and I removed a little bit of it. That was kind of a time consuming. So what I'll do is you go through here. And you just try to get this little tab lined up from where you had before. Never end right on the end. You'll see a little, well, you'll see what I mean. If you end up on there, you'll see why. You'll have a crack right here at the end, and even though it doesn't matter, you just can't get it. It's not as nice. It's better to have a little tab that flips over. Right like that. And as I'm going on one side, pinch it, pinch it, pinch it, pinch it. And I bring it over here to the corner. Flatten it down one more time on either side. Get it, then I run it on the edge. My board here. And this is taking a little longer because I'm explaining it, but then that little guy. Nope, backwards. Fits right there. Fits right there. Some people pin these as they go, but I want a little flexibility. If I see some gaps or whatever, I'll move it. I'll form it. I'll squish it together, and it helps. All right, you don't need to watch me do this last one. This is gonna be an easy one.